Alright, so in this session is the second session of working the indication with Cathane, and here notice I've created distance. She now understands that the only way to get the reward or to receive her paycheck is to penetrate that hole with her nose and indicate. So here my end goal is to start off with distance added, since the last session we ended up with her understanding what the indication was. So now I'm wanting to create distance, and by the end of this session I want to start adding duration. So you see I'm standing about 5 feet away, and I have the cup of kibble in my hand, and she's being very operant. She's looking at me, she's saying, "Hey, what do you want? I'll do whatever you want. I'm sitting, I'm being polite, is that good enough?" And then she'll jump up on me, "Do you want this?" And then she remembers, "Oh yeah, the box." And then she goes, but she has a hard time hovering around the hole instead of penetrating the hole. So we're fine-tuning that. She's learning that she only gets marked and rewarded if her nose goes in that hole. So she spins, she sits pretty, and she goes, mark and reward whenever she sticks her nose in the hole. But I don't reward if she just hovers outside. So she has to develop a clear idea of what is expected. I also have her mother and her half-sister in the house. They're all, sitting on the recliner watching, and they're kind of being a little of a distraction, but not too much. But, Cathane, she's working hard. She's figuring out what she's wanting to do, and this is the second session, and we're already adding a little bit of distraction. We're adding distance, and by the end of this, we're going to be adding duration. And all I'm doing is standing there neutral, not giving any body language as much as possible. Every now and then, I'll have to lean in towards the box to remind her to go to the box. And she jumps on me and then indicates, mark and reward. And we continue to do this. So continuing on from first session, but I'm adding distance. I'm standing up, I'm standing away from her. She's clearly understanding what is needed and what's to be done. So once again, if I drop a piece of kibble, I'll say find it, and then she'll forge around, and then she'll get it, and then I'll remind her to go right back to work. So she's smelling the floor, indicates mark a reward. She just hovered outside that hole. There, mark and reward. I want to stay consistent on what I want her to do. The first session, starting off, as long as she got in the hole, decent enough or hovered around, I marked and I rewarded. Now I'm making a final picture here. I want her to penetrate that hole, get her nose deep in there, really breathe in that odor, because that's another thing you'll notice a lot of dogs do. You'll see this in some of the old ACE videos, where whenever you add the second box, in their mind, they're not looking for odor. They're just saying, okay, obedience-wise, I got to stick my nose in this hole. And they'll go to any box, stick their nose in the hole, without actually looking for the odor, which I'm guaranteed that's what she will do, and then we'll work through that. But I'm preemptively working the odor here. The farther her nose goes in, the more that odor she smells. So that's why I'm being preemptive with that. I'm waiting for her to stick her nose all the way in, and that's why I also want to add duration later. The longer her nose is in there, the more she smells odor, and that's why I want to get that duration as soon as possible. So there, she's not being too pushy. She's sitting. If you looked at the previous videos, she had a really bad jumping problem, but now she's learning a little bit more. Hey, when we're working, if you stay off me and you have manners, then it works out better for you. You get more reps in, you get more rewards. So she spins, she runs around, she gets a little distracted, and I just kind of move my body towards the box, and off she goes. Mark and reward. And then here, I want to add a little bit of duration. So what I'm doing is I'm sitting down and I'm getting more food into my hand and going in the box. So I'm just opening up my hand, and I have a palm full of kibble, and she's has her head in the box, and she's eating out of my hand inside the box for long periods of time. While I'm doing this, I'm adding the duration marker, which is good, which means continue what you're doing. So my hand goes in, she sticks her head in, and while she's eating, or flooding, is what some people would call it, I'm just simply saying good, good. Because right now she's learning that whenever I say good and her head stays in the box, it's good. So I sit there, I keep my hand in there. She gets a little too much of a mouthful every now and then. She'll pull her head out and spit a few pieces, and that's fine. That's acceptable in this criteria. I mean, keep in mind, this is the second session of working indication. So another handful, she goes in the box, she stays in there, she's eating from the hand. I keep saying good, good. I'm not asking for a final response, for like a sit or a down or a bark or a scratch. Right now we're just working on the indication, and then we'll work on obedience to odor, and then we'll work on the searching, and then we'll move from the boxes to other things. So this is a very incremental process that is stuttered step over and over, gradually moving forward. You don't want to just go, okay, boxes to free searching. You want to have those small steps to build confidence and to develop clear pictures in the dog's mind, what is needed and what is expected to get your paycheck. So here we're closing off on the duration part, and I'm going to test it out to see how well she's picking up on the good marker and leaving her head in. And then if she does well, we'll call the session good, and we'll call it quits. So I stand back up, I go back to 5 or 6 feet away, I mark and I reward, but then I just kind of hold off a little bit to see if either A, she'll keep offering the behavior, she'll go in, because sometimes if you don't reward fast enough, they just completely check out. But I'm going to see if she keeps going back to the hole, or if she will stay in the hole longer. So here, notice, it's very slight, but she's definitely staying in there a little bit longer than what she was. See there, just a slight bit longer. And I'm going to ask her to do it 1 or 2 more times, and we call it done. And then in session 3, when we start tomorrow, I'm going to ask for a little bit more and a little bit more. So she goes to the box, she waits longer, and reward. So I'm not asking for just 1 second to 5 seconds. I'm wanting to go from 1 second to 2 seconds to 3 seconds, so on and so forth. So why that doesn't seem to be very much longer than it was, it really is, and is going to gradually increase. So this is a very good end of session 2 on the indication.